So when we last left off, we were in our home opener against the Raptors, which went down to the wire thanks to Simcast. But today we're going to make significant progress on the season, and I hope we like the results. We'll see about any potential trades we need to make and stuff like that, and just get a general look at our team. So let's sim a month and see a rather disappointing result. We actually are below 500 after 16 games. But man, we went through the gauntlet. We faced the Nets, the Celtics twice, the Bucks, the Heat, the Mavs, the Pelicans, the Warriors. All but the Nets were losses, which might be indicative of our team as a whole, but maybe we're just meshing, hopefully. But let's dive into some box scores and see what the problem might lie. In this one against the Celtics, we only scored 90 points and have only one guy score 20 points. James Harden on 6 for 17 shooting, which is pretty bad. Ben Simmons is also way down there at 4 points on 2 for 9 shooting. Kabengele also took a million shots and went 3 for 15, which is completely unacceptable. I want to know why both of our centers took more shots than Simmons. Then the Bucks game, on the other hand, we had nobody score even 15 points, and once again, both our centers took more shots than Simmons. We might need to adjust some tendencies here and possibly scoring options. I mean, the Bucks have a solid defensive team and all, but still, it's James Harden and Ben Simmons. Then, for some insane reason, Ben Simmons decides to do well against Giannis, of all people. I mean, how does that even work? It was James Harden who couldn't get shooting going, 5 for 14 against Tyler Hero. What a backwards game, which was also an L, by the way. Now let's take a look at one more box score before we sim another month or so. This is against the Mavs, and you see Schroeder up at the top scoring 19 points. Schroeder has actually proven himself as a very capable third guy, and I remember saying something like that going into last offseason. So here he is. As for the rest of our team, Harden was fine, Simmons didn't take nearly enough shots, but he made all the ones he took. Biyombo is also taking way too many shots, he needs to be taking like 4. Conley also went 1 for 11. One common theme you see with all of these losses, it's that we don't even score 100 points. Even with James Harden, we're struggling on offense. So to combat that, I changed the scoring options. I put James Harden first, second is Ben Simmons, and we'll let the third figure itself out. I also put the offensive focus as playthrough star. It was originally to get shooters open, and we don't really have any who are consistent enough to be doing that. You'll also notice that Udoka's offense is a C-. If midway through the season we don't pick up and we're still closer to 500, I think it may be time for a better coach. There's no reason for us to be this bad on offense with our personnel. We have plenty of guys who are capable of getting buckets. So that may be something that we end up looking at later down the line. But for now, I think we just adjust that and sim another month and maybe do better with an easier schedule. As you can see, month 2 was much better for us as we went 10 for 4 in the 14 games we played this month, even if we did lose to the Knicks and the Cavs for some reason. This time we beat teams like the Hawks, Bucks, Nets, Pelicans, and Raptors, and we did still lose games to the Celtics and the Heat. So even though I should have, I didn't grab any box scores, so we can just look at the first month stats and then I'll tell you what they are now instead of going and turning on my PS4 to get a screenshot. Cool? Cool. First up, we have our new acquisition, James Harden, who is averaging around 21 points per game and like 5 or 6 assists on some pretty good percentages, so he's been fine. We have a bunch of guys around the 10 points per game mark with a few guys averaging closer to 15, so that's why he's not averaging 30 like he did in Houston, which I did not expect him with as many guys as we have. As for our second guy, Ben Simmons, he's averaging 16 point something points per game with around 6 assists, I think. Almost 2 steals a game and a little over a block, and is shooting in the mid-70s for his free throw percentage, which is great. I think the Harden acquisition allowed him to be more of a defensive player while still getting his stuff done on offense, which is fine with me if we're going to win games. Then there's our third guy, Schroeder, who is averaging 19 points and 6 assists on some pretty good percentages. I couldn't ask for more from Schroeder at all. He's been amazing for us since we acquired him, and I'm just so happy that with the way he's performing. I think Kabengele is averaging around 13 points and 7 rebounds. Bogdanovic is averaging 10 points on some blah efficiency. Conley is fine. Biyombo has actually been pretty good for us, but I'm not sure 2K will see past his rating, so we might have to look to get somebody else. Who knows? Oh, and Thibault is averaging 4 points per game and shooting like 42% from 3, so I'm just going to assume he's playing really good defense. But speaking of, let's look at our team stats and get an idea of what our team is doing. We'll start off with the offense, which is 22nd in the league, which is absolutely terrible. I mean, what? We have James Harden on our team and one of the better transition offenses in the league, and we can only score 110 points a game? Absolutely pitiful. We're going to have to figure something out. Defense, on the other hand, is exactly where I'd expect us to be. 4th best defense in the league, I'm totally okay with that, considering we have James Harden, who is definitely a negative on that end in this point in his career. Somehow the Rockets are better than us on defense with both Bagley and Buddy in their starting 5, but whatever. Our field goal percentage is whatever. 18th best, aka 12th worst or whatever. It's not super great. The 3-point percentage is in the upper half, so that's fine. 13th best, yeah, 37% is cool. And then we're at number 10 in free throw percentage, which is totally cool with me. So yeah, we're 17 and 13, which isn't great, but hopefully we pick up our play. We're currently sitting at the 6th seed in the East, and we aren't that far behind the seeds above us. Hopefully things get better. We might have to end up looking at some trades or something. Oh, also, before I forget, I came up with some new rotations. The only thing that has changed was Harden getting a couple more minutes, and Thibault and Kabengele getting inserted into the starting lineup. Kabengele is also getting more minutes, same with Thibault. I figured there's literally no point of Thibault being on the bench considering he's not a source of offense. We could use his defense against starting lineups and he'd be much more useful than Bogdanovic. As for the minutes increase for Kabengele, he's been a good source of offense for us and is a pretty decent inside defender. And maybe this will play the ratings game with 2K and they'll make us better, but Biombo has been good. So anyway, that's it for this episode. If we can pick up our offense, get to like 10th best, maybe 15th will do, but we have such a great defense that I think if we just get a better offense, we'll be fine. But anyway, if you got this far and you enjoyed the video, consider leaving it a like and subscribing to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. And y'all have a good one.